WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City, a town square media station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
What a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Thursday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Power Hour, bringing you everything you need to know about the day in sports. If you're just joining us now and you missed the most of the day, we'll try to get you updated. We've got the Eagles' latest injury report to get to, plus some thoughts on the Eagles matchup with the Bucks. Joining us coming up in less than 20 minutes from now, Chris Franklin covers the Eagles for NJ Advanced Media and NJ.com. He will join me coming up as we will dig deeper into this Eagles-Bucks game that is coming up on Monday night. As always, you can join the conversation at 609-403-0973. That's the text, but also we take your DMs from the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. But before we get to anything else, we do have to get to the biggest NFL news of the day. And it indirectly impacts the Eagles, and that is Trayvon Diggs has suffered a torn ACL at Dallas Cowboys practice today. So he was injured at practice. So what does this mean? Well, it frankly means a couple things. All right. Number one, with no Diggs on the Cowboys defense, that defense goes from being one of the 2 or 3 best defenses in the league to no longer in that conversation. And it's not that the Cowboys don't have good players on the rest of the team. Look, they still have Micah Parsons. They still have DeMarcus Lawrence. They still have Stephon Gilmore. But Cowboys go from a team that had one of the best cornerback duos in the entire NFL to being a team that has one very good corner and then who? Because the problem with the Cowboys is whether it's Eric Scott, whether it's Jordan Lewis, whether it is Noah Ingbenoe, all those guys are nowhere as good as Trayvon Diggs. Deron Bland is just our nickel corner. He's probably going to play on the outside very well either. So what did the Cowboys do? Well, the Cowboys are now in a similar predicament as the Eagles. They are missing a key piece of their defense for the rest of the NFL season. Now, the Eagles are much better at finding value than Dallas is in the trade market. So if Dallas does make a trade, they might have to overpay, whereas the Eagles don't have to overpay for that deal. But the loss of Diggs takes the Cowboys from being in the discussion as one of the premier teams that is going to threaten the Eagles to be a team that, barring any major acquisition, they get knocked down a notch because realistically, their defense has been the key for them. Look, people can point to all they want about, Dak and all that stuff. The truth is that the reason why Dak doesn't have any, problems this year is because he doesn't have to do anything except for not mess up. You've asked Dak Prescott to go from being one of the key leaders of your franchise on the field to being a guy who just shows up each and every week. That is a huge change. So you're not asking the offense to carry you. You're not asking this team to go out of their way and go and win a shootout. You haven't done it the first 2 weeks. You beat up on a Giants team that obviously thought they were better than they were coming into the year. And then you smashed a Jets team that was without Aaron Rodgers, with a backup quarterback who's nowhere near as talented as Rodgers is. So the Cowboys, they're key to the promised land. They're key to getting to their first NFC championship game since the mid-90s was the defense. Look, in the last 23 years, the Giants and the Eagles have been the 2 best teams in the NFC East for the last 23 years. The Eagles have been to the Super Bowl 3 times. The Giants have been there 2 times. Both those teams have been combined to more NFC championship games. The Giants and the Eagles combined. They've been to more NFC championship games combined than the Cowboys were in during the heyday of the 90s Cowboys. So there's no way I can sit here, if I am being completely honest up front with you guys, and tell you that this Diggs injury is something that the Cowboys can overcome. And this is massive news because when you look around the NFL, this week I wrote the article on 97.3 ESPN.com about the power rankings. And 2 of the 3 power rankings had the Cowboys ahead of the Eagles. Well, now you cannot, in good faith, act like there's this big difference between what the Cowboys have to offer and what the Eagles have to offer, because they both now have sustained significant injuries in their secondaries that are going to hamper them for the rest of the year. It's almost a wash. Diggs' value to the Cowboys was more than just the fact that he was a ball hawk and a guy who gets turnovers, interceptions at times. It was the fact that he used to be the number 1 corner and he was alone out there. Then they traded for Stephon Gilmore, and it finally leveled out the secondary. Gilmore allows the Cowboys to play a more balanced defense with Diggs, because now you're not asking Diggs to be 100% responsible for the other team's best receiver. You're asking Diggs instead to be part of a defense. And now without him, there's more pressure on Gilmore. There's more pressure on the defensive line of Lawrence and Parsons blitzing. You're asking more of Jonathan Hankins. You're asking more of guys in the secondary like Malik Hooker and Jaron Kearse. So this is a blessing in disguise for the Eagles, because now without Diggs, you can basically stay away from Gilmore every time you play the Cowboys. You can just walk Jalen Hurts up to the offensive line and say, who's Gilmore on? All right, not going to you, bro. You just run that route and get him away from where I'm throwing the ball. That's basically what you're doing now. And if I look at the Cowboys' schedule moving forward, and obviously this is based on only information I have, they're still going to beat the Cardinals this week. They're still most likely going to beat the Patriots the week after that. So they'll be 4-0. But that San Francisco game, that's a loss. Chargers, I can almost guarantee that's a loss now. And then the Rams game coming out of the bye week, that could be a loss too. The Cowboys could be 4-3 heading into their matchup with the Eagles on November 5th. Because without Diggs, you're asking that Cowboys secondary to slow down a 49ers team that has Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle, a Chargers team that's got tons of weapons like Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. And if Austin Eckler's healthier by then, that's going to be a huge challenge. And this Rams team looks like they are going to be a problem for everyone week in and week out. So no Diggs, major impact on the NFC. And if I look at the bigger picture of the Cowboys' schedule, let's say they lose the Eagles game week 9. That means they would be 4-4. They get the Giants at home. They'll win that at Carolina. I think they win that. They get the Washington in their house on Thanksgiving. That's going to be a question. You could be 6-4 heading into that Washington game. And now your hopes of making the playoffs become a little bit more tenuous, because after you got Washington on Thanksgiving, as Dallas, then Seattle, then Philadelphia, at Buffalo, at Miami, home against Detroit, at Washington. That's 7 straight games to end the year for the Cowboys that their defense could be taken advantage of. Text board is open, 609-403-0973. By the way, Jeff in Ocean City, all he contributes is Dallas stinks with a laughing emoji. Thanks, Jeff. you're not really contributing to the conversation. Dan in EHT chimes in, says, it was weird when the Eagles took Devonta Smith and Cowboys took Micah Parsons in the same draft. They're both Hall of Famers, possibly. I mean, it's early on, but I think that if Devonta Smith maintains his level of production, let's project that out for a minute, okay? I mean, Parsons is definitely turning into arguably the best defensive player in the league right now. It's either him or TJ Watt, depending on who you ask, okay? Let's see here. Devonta Smith, through his first 2 seasons in the NFL, what is his average? Let's see here. His 17-game average is 80 receptions, all right? So, to be a Hall of Famer, you need about 8 to 10 really good years. So, let's say Devonta Smith gets another 800 receptions. Add that to what he already has. So, he's getting close to 1,000 receptions. So, you're kind of in that conversation. What's his average touchdowns per year? 6. All right, so 60 plus 12 plus 2. I mean, he's only at 74. He'll probably need to get that number up a little more if he's a potential Hall of Famer. By the way, I mentioned when I get to the Eagles injury report, speaking of Devonta Smith, Smith is on there, but he was a limited participant at practice with what they're calling a hamstring thigh issue. The Eagles practiced fully today for the first time and basically since the beginning of the season at this point. Basically only 3 players for DNPs. And frankly, only one of them is a serious question to me. Terrell Edmonds, he's out with an illness. When usually a guy has an illness, he's probably back and at it. Considering the game's on Monday, I think he should be fine. Boston Scott is the one I'm curious about because he is labeled with a concussion. And I don't know about you guys, but what happened to Boston Scott in the last 10 days? Well, not the last 7 days that he's now listed with concussion issues heading into the weekend. If Scott does not get out of the concussion protocol before Saturday, he will be unavailable for Monday Night Football, which means you're losing your primary backup kick and punt returner, and you're losing some depth at the running back position. Quez Watkins did not practice with a hamstring. I'm not 100% worried about that because I do think that sometimes when guys haven't practiced for a while, they might be a little extra tight, and maybe that's why he's going to have that problem. The good news is that James Bradbury, it looks like he'll be taken out of the concussion protocol by the end of the weekend. Blankenship, Fletcher Cox, Zach Cunningham, Jordan Davis, Kenny Gainwell, Jack Stoll, Josh Sweat, all were limited participants at practice, so they are all on track to play. So it's not all bad news for Philadelphia. All right, coming up next, we'll dig deeper into the state of the Eagles roster, plus we'll ask Chris Franklin his thoughts on their matchup with Tampa Bay. Josh Hennig hanging out with you here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle.
This is the radio home for Philadelphia Eagles football. It's week 3, and the Eagles travel to Tampa to take on the Bucs on Monday Night Football.
And it's Swift again for another 9 yards. He's over 100. Not much they can do about it.
Eagles radio network coverage begins at 6 p.m. Merrill and Mike call all the action starting at 7:15. 7.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Eagles station. Brought to you by
Jenkins Plumbing and Heating at jenkinsandsons.com. Piccalilli Inn. Nobody beats the Piccalilli, Route 206 in Chemung. Frank Vincent Windows, Roofing, Siding, and Doors make your home look new again. BMW of Atlantic City. Shop our complete inventory online at bmwatlanticcity.com. And First Bank of Sea Isle.
97.3 ESPN FM is your official home in South Jersey for Eagles football. 97.3 ESPN FM.
Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Booking Games in Ocean Casino Resort this football season. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go to the gallery. Go to Ocean. Go for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Exergen thermometers are more accurate than non-contact thermometers. And with children back to school, keeping them healthy is important. Clinical studies have proven that non-contact thermometers can miss fevers. Accuracy matters. That's why the Exergen thermometer is trusted and used by medical professionals and is backed by over 100 clinical studies. Exergen thermometers are available at Walgreens. Choose a trusted and accurate thermometer for personal use. Learn more about why accuracy matters at Exergen.com. That's Exergen.com.
The power's out at our house. Coffee table. But since my family has storm-ready Wi-Fi from Xfinity, they can stream and game like usual on all their devices all over the house. Oh, who moved the couch? So everybody stays connected while I just try to find a seat in the dark. Oh, cactus? Can I get a little help over here?
Yeah, bro. Just let me finish this boss battle.
Sure, go ahead. Medic!
Now you can get fast, reliable internet on the Xfinity 10G network and get storm-ready Wi-Fi when you upgrade, so you can stay connected for up to 4 hours, even when the power goes out. Only from Xfinity. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Storm-ready Wi-Fi limited to customers within range of 4G LTE cellular signal. Speeds reduced to 30/7 megabits per second. Actual speeds vary. For more details, visit Xfinity.com/stormready.
There are a lot of car dealer ads that boast about deals that sound too good to be true. You know those ads, the ones that promise higher trade values and discounts with a disclaimer. The truth is you can get a good deal anywhere, but isn't it about time you deal with a dealer that gives you a no-nonsense deal at the best price? At Gentilini Motors, we've built a reputation for taking care of our community and treating customers like family for 65 years, because treating the customer right always ensures the best deal. I'm Paul Gentilini, and I assure you, no other dealer in South Jersey beats our deals. Give us a call at 609-861-9000. Visit us online at GentiliniChevrolet.com or stop by today to find new roads in a Chevy and experience the Gentilini difference for yourself at 500 John S. Penn Boulevard, next to the airport in Woodbine, New Jersey. We're just a short drive from anywhere.
Just a short drive from anywhere. Gentilini Family Motors.
It can be stressful when unexpected expenses come up, but Dave can help. Dave is the banking app that can help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. No interest, late fees, or credit check. Join the millions of people who have downloaded Dave and get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. Download the Dave app right now or go to dave.com. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve. Member FDIC.
When you want experience, go for the best. Pick up the phone and call Dennisville Fence.
Hey, South Jersey contractors, is your current supplier failing on your railing? Dennisville Fence can supply or install whatever type of railing you need. With the largest selection in South Jersey, we are your go-to source for cable rail, glass rail, aluminum, and composite. Plus, we have a mile of white vinyl T-railing in stock to help you stay on time and on budget. Have trouble getting up the steps? Our instant rail and ADA handrail will have you covered. Don't leave your customer in the dark. Our full line of low-voltage lighting will knock your job out of the park. With materials delivered right to your home or job site, we make it easy to get you the products you need when you need them. So start planning your project today. Visit DennisvilleFence.com or our newest location at 229 Shore Road in Summers Point. Again, that's 229 Shore Road in Summers Point.
Pick up the phone and call Dennisville Fence. 1-800-499-FENCE.
Visit DennisvilleFence.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey, Josh Hennig here to tell you about how Jenkins Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning has helped your favorite football team. Did you know that over 40 years ago, John Jenkins Sr. invented the heated seat that football Players sit on today? Yes, the Jenkins family created a way for football players to weather the extreme cold. Now imagine what Jenkins could do for your home. Call Jenkins for plumbing, drain cleaning, and leak repairs, gas furnace, boiler, and hot water heater replacements. Call Jenkins today at 609-641-6262 online at jenkinsandsons.com.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
We'll check back on the text board in just a bit, 609-403-0973. But right now, joining us on the phone line to get more into the Eagles as the first injury report of the year the week came out today of the year. It just feels like the first one of the year because this whole Thursday night to Monday night has got me messed up. I'm sure it's got Chris Franklin from NJ Advanced Media, NJ.com, Eagles beat writer messed up too. As Chris, I got to tell you, I mean, I don't even know what day it is half the week because this whole thing of the Eagles playing on Thursday, they're playing on Monday, it's got me completely confused at times. How you doing?
What day is it? I just know the sun goes up and the sun goes down. That's about it. Craziness, like getting the flow. And yeah, I think at least after this, we got a little bit of normalcy. But you know, that's what you get for being a good team, and networks want to see you in prime time.
Yeah, I mean the good news is we have more Thursday nights the rest of the year. So.
Yeah, let's not put that in the air. The flex, like, please, no, yeah, like, and I'm worried about later in the year with some of those flex games, and if it's a tight division or anything, like, oh no, here we go. But hey, you know, yeah, it's almost like a heavy lies crown. If you wear an NFC crown, you get to be in those spots, I guess.
Well, listen, I mean, I was saying before you came on, I think that this Diggs injury for the Cowboys, and with the torn ACL, I think that is a massive blow to the Cowboys because I think that their defense was so balanced, and without him, I mean, the Cowboys could be 6-4 by the time they play the Eagles on November 5th. So there's a strong possibility that, you know, that Philadelphia-Dallas matchup is going to mean a lot less now.
Well, I think also when it comes to the tiebreaker, even if these teams went around, I think you had to play them head-to-head, the way Stephon Gilmore played A.J. Brown last year, he was really good. And he had Diggs going against Devonta Smith. Now without Diggs, you really got to look at that matchup. You got to be feeling good if you're Eagles heading into it. Knock on wood, there's no injuries to either one of those guys or any other significant injuries to the Eagles too. So that had a big ripple effect along the NFC East. And now you start to wonder, okay, the Cowboys, there still should be a playoff team, but where are they going to land? And how does that factor into the race for number one seed?
So let's get into some of the news with the Eagles today. I don't feel like there was any crazy surprises with the injury report. Chris, was there anything that stood out for you, good or bad? I mean, for me, the positive was that Bradbury looks like he's on track to play on Monday, even though it's only Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he's back, especially going against this, especially with Vontae Max out, you don't know if he's going to go in the slot or the outside. I think that's huge just to have him on the field, because you still have Chris Godwin on the other side of it where you're the Buccaneers. So I think that's big. I think the weirdest thing is just you see the number of names on there. I think that's pretty jarring when you first look, like, whoa, what's happened? But then you think about what happened the last couple of years where those Wednesday, those first practices back, guys were either in rest or they had a little nick things up and they had to put them on the list. So I always try to these guys are on the list, but you see like maybe a half of them, maybe 2/3 of them show up now as full participants going into Friday's practice, and they start to go from there. But I don't foresee anybody, but besides the Quez Watkins one, I think is something bear watching, and then Boston Scott if he can clear concussion protocol, because if Quez Watkins has go, now you're looking at Olamide Zaccheaus trying to step up again as that third wide receiver. So that's the main one I'm really watching as the week progresses.
The Boston Scott one's interesting because I feel like that he's kind of an undervalued depth piece for this team. And if he's unavailable, I think that changes a little bit of how your game planning going into the game, because we know the Eagles, they got a plan for what ifs, right?
Yeah, and to use a base, like if I was going to compare to a pitcher and the pitches he has, to me, DeAndre Swift's your fastball. He's your home run hitter. He's your best bread and butter. Gainwell's like a slider where you have your change of pace. And then Boston Scott's like your changeup, your overall changeup, where, you know, he's going to go north-south and he's going to do what he can to pick up yards, and I like that. And then you also want somebody who's sure-handed on kickoff returns, because not only do you have – I mean, teams have basically kicked it through the end zone nowadays, but Sometimes they've switched it up and try to kick it high and deep into the corner and try to pin him back. And if you don't have Scott and then you don't have Watkins on there, now you're relying on Rashad Penny, who last time he really had that role was the first 2 seasons of his career. So Boston Scott, he may not be the lead guy, he may not be the feature guy, but he certainly does a lot for his team.
Let's get back to Watkins for a minute. Obviously this Bucks team, they're not a high-powered offense, Chris, but I think that they're a team that definitely could create some interesting challenges for the Eagles because of no Maddox out there and how banged up they are in the secondary. So what is your take on, could this Eagles Bucks game turn out to be a little bit more high scoring than the Bucks' first 2 games have been?
I think when you look at the way Baker Mayfield's playing, I think it starts with him. He hasn't turned the ball over like the old Baker Mayfield we're used to with the Browns. You're just waiting for, we know Baker's time's coming. It's time to get the ball. I think he can put the ball into the Eagles' hands twice. I think he can force 2 turnovers with this, just because of I know you have Wirfs and everybody else along the Tampa Bay offensive line, but I think they can really get enough pressure to get it out quickly, and also try to strip that ball a little bit as well too. Secondary, even though Blankenship's coming back a little bit, and Edmonds dealing with illness, but you look at that and you see where they've taken their shots. Even though Mayfield has spread the ball around and to all parts of the field, when they really take their shots, they go to the deep left with Mike Evans. And if you could put Slay, have him travel there, you can put Bradbury's on that side. You still wouldn't mind having a safety over top to help him out to try to jump that route. And it's a question mark. Justin Evans did a decent job when he came and filled in, so you still question about it being a high scoring thing. And if that's the case, this is a time for Dallas Goedert to step up and get the ball a little bit more, so that you can control the middle of the field and put some more points on the board. I think that's the missing piece of this offense really going is Goedert.
We're talking with Chris Franklin, covers the Eagles for NJ Advanced Media, NJ.com. Eagles beat writer here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN at C. Franklin News on the Twitter X platform. Chris, I want to ask you about Jalen Hurts, because one of the conversations that has been had is about, his start to the year, right? He has not been the Jalen Hurts that we saw in the biggest game of the year back in February, in that Super Bowl when he actually outplayed Patrick Mahomes. Well, one of the comments I've heard from a lot of the, the film guru guys, the Greg Cosell of the world, the Brian Baldingers, the Mike Quick on the Eagles radio network, all those guys keep bringing up the idea that Jalen Hurts is predetermining some of his throws. Do you think that there's something going on in either the play calling of the Eagles offense or in Jalen's execution of the offense that is limiting them right now?
I would say a couple of those throws might be predetermined, especially I want to say it was 2 fade routes, and A.J. Brown was open on the other side. If he turned and looked, there was nobody really around him, but Devontae had a defender near him. There are a couple instances on that. But I think a lot of it's the way that teams are just starting to play them now, and the fact that they couldn't really do what they did that was so successful last year. I mean, when you look at the way they set up the zone reads and the RPOs to get some of those first downs that they had last year's season, their teams are starting to muddy that area up. I mean, you don't see them declaring as much. They're trying to shift their looks in the box, and it's the last minute, so Hurts can't make that precise read, which throws them off a split second, and next thing you know, is it complete, or yes, we'll go to another look, and it's throwing things off. So I think a little bit's play calling. I would like to see more up-tempo stuff, because it seemed like last year when Hurts was really going, they used a lot of up-tempo stuff to get them into a rhythm and get them really going through the rest of the game. I also like to see more pistol, because that way you can still show the threat of the run with Swift or Gainwell behind them, and then you still can run that stuff that you like, but it just keep some of those edge defenders back more in the box and not trying to cheat off the edge and trying to read what they're doing.
Chris, when you say, hey, I like to see more of this, I like to see more of that, whether it's the pistol formation or whatever, how much of that is Brian Johnson calling plays? How much of that do you think is like the game plan during the week? Because remember, we were told by Nick Sirianni that, hey, Brian Johnson was very involved in the offense and the game plan the last 2 years. And we know Johnson has experience calling plays in college. So I'm just curious, what then, because it felt like with Steichen, the offense was very balanced, right? Whereas now with Johnson, it feels a little erratic.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of these unscouted looks at a lot of, especially when you start out with Belichick, who had all season to look at how to defend the Eagles' offense, and then you had a short week, and then Brian Flores, who thinks similarly like that, but which is way more than Belichick, but who thinks similarly like that, for you didn't have enough time to really look at that. That's just the one benefit I think that the Eagles had to rectify a lot of the stuff was having this mini bye, because it gave the coaches a lot of time to really break down looking at. I think Brian Johnson, I mean, you got to put someone on Brian Johnson. You got to put someone on Jalen Hurts as well, too. Kevin Patul, even Nick Sirianni, because we've heard, like you mentioned, we've heard so much it was a collaborative effort when it came to getting this offense together. Got to be a collaborative effort when there's not as sharp as they should be as well, too. So I think this is a good game to get that going. Is it going to be easy? No, but I think you'll see little tweaks, stuff that you'll see on the All-22. You're looking like, oh, okay, you see that different. But when you look at this, like this is the same formation we've seen a lot of times. So I think it'll be one of those type things.
You mentioned DeAndre Swift earlier, Chris. That's another conversation we've been having throughout the week. With Gainwell projected to be coming back, what do they do with the running backs here, do you think? Because, Eagle fans, Chris, they are now in love with DeAndre Swift. Swift is the man. He's, there literally is an article on our website where somebody wrote down like the analogies between DeAndre Swift and Taylor Swift. Like that's the level that we're at with DeAndre Swift right now. But Gainwell got almost all the touches in week 1. So what do the Eagles do now at running back?
Well, I think if somebody's really thinking about the Swifties, they're going to see the Kanye moment at the VMAs because go, wait, hold up, we're going to hold this out. I think Gainwell's still going to get his moment. Gainwell's still going to get his touches when it comes to that.
Nice.
They're really going to run. They're going to run this committee. They really are, and it may be frustrating, especially if you see the performance that Swift had. Now I don't think it's Swifties now, but I can see it's Swift now getting all the touches and everything. But I really think they're going to still continue to ride a hot hand because they really believe in Kenneth Gainwell, and they really believe the ability that he also has catching the ball out of the backfield. So I could even see it where Gainwell is the de facto starter, where he comes back and is on the field for the first play, and they maybe give him the first series, and then you go back to Swift and you try to mix that up. The only player that I really think that may not get a lot of touches this game is Rashad Penny, because we saw that when you had both of them, when you had Swift and Scott, Penny was on the sideline until Scott got hurt. So they're going to be used interchangeably. Whoever has the hot hand in the second half, they're going to ride them all the way to the end of the game.
Yeah, Penny didn't do himself any favors. That hold on that pass where, that should have been a touchdown. And that was one of the dumbest holds I've ever seen by a running back ever. And it's like, that guy did himself no favors. And it's incredible, Chris, because when the Eagles signed this guy, there's so many people who were excited, right? Like, oh, this, if you put Penny in a rotation, maybe he won't be likely to be injured. And, Swift and Penny healthy, that could be a dynamic duo. And now it's like Rashad Penny is like the forgotten man.
Same here. I thought he could be like Jordan Howard a couple of years ago. I really thought he could be so many baseball analogies, but he could be your closer today. That you hammer home and you salt the game away. I really thought he'd be that guy, but unfortunately, there's been something that maybe it's something we're not seeing in the close part practices that we're not able to see that is hindering him from seeing more playing time. Well, pass blocking, we got to see one of the things, the pass blocking. We know how much this team values his pass blocking. If you want to stay on the field, that's the one thing you have to do in this offense. And he was in bad position to do that. He really, all he had to do was like just get in front of us and not lay on that, and they would have scored a touchdown on that play.
Chris Franklin from NJ.com, NJ Advanced Media, Eagles beat writer, joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Thursday. A couple more for you, Chris, before I let you go. When you look at the defense, obviously, without Avonte Maddox, there's a ton of questions about what they should or shouldn't do. Chris Long on his podcast this week, the Greenlight Pod, was saying that he expects Howie Roseman to make a move at some point before week 7 when the Eagles play the Dolphins. How likely do you think Howie Roseman and the Eagles make a move, and how committed do you think they are to what they currently have?
If it's going to be a secondary piece, and if it's leading to the Buda Baker stuff, I'm not so sure. I really am not. If anything, I think it's going to be something that's minor, a minor tweak here or there. Maybe somebody you maybe can give up like a fifth or a 6, maybe conditional 6 at least, or a 5th, something like that, because it would have to take a significant injury, or they have to take a bunch of breakdowns in that secondary, especially the safety spot, to really have them do that. They really believe in these young corners. They like the way that they're able to play off of the veterans and learn from them, and it gives you basically your options now and also in the future. They didn't want to give them away. That's why they kept Josh Jobe and Mario Goodrich, 2 guys now who have significant roles on his team. You have to use that. So the Baker stuff, I've heard of Baker stuff. I'm probably put that as of right now. I'd say no. But unless something happens where, say, Reed Blankenship was really significantly injured, or even say Zach Cunningham and Nakobe Dean aren't going to be going for a long time trying to get a linebacker, I think they're going to try to hold on to Sam Pat.
When you think about, because you mentioned a lot of different scenarios there, Chris, I got to know from you, and I mean, and because, the regular Eagle fan out there, you know what they remember? They remember Mario Goodrich being fried. Why? Because he didn't play well when he came into the game. Do you think that anything we saw on Thursday night from either Josh Jobe or Mario Goodrich, in any way, do you think that makes the Eagles feel any less confident about their depth at corner?
No, I think I talked to Mario. I actually talked to Mario about that today. He admitted, we got in there, the nerves got to him, and he got thrown into the fire quick, but then he calmed down. And I thought that was a big key thing. There's a big difference going in when you're knowing you're the guy, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, we need you to go replace Avante and do this, and talk to him and communication and everything else. So I still think even if they do that, they're going to try to keep them long term, and I don't think they give up. Even if they get a rental, I know they have all these comp picks that they're coming up next year. They can get rid of some of the other ones they have, but I think they still really truly believe that in the core, and I don't think they want to mess with the psyche or the confidence of some of these young guys, and they're going to keep going with them as long as they can.
Speaking of the secondary, the safety position has been a part of the conversation, and we know that Evans has cross-trained a little bit at slot corner. Is there a scenario where we could see an old school setup where you could have 3 safeties on the field because of the Eagles' desire to try to mix and match matchups on the field here?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can see with Morrow being on the field, being the middle linebacker, they put Evans, quote unquote, as a linebacker in that big nickel type of situation. They move on. I think I personally would have liked to see Slade travel with Evans, even though he plays one side and so far these first 2 games, but I would like match up best on best. And I would like to see that. But yeah, I think Evans, I like his experience overall with the coverage thing, and especially with how they play that matchup zone that they have especially in the middle of the field. Having a veteran, a guy like that, to play linebacker to give you another level of security just in case. Yeah, that worked. I think that works out to do that. I wouldn't be surprised if he does that. I wouldn't be surprised to see Reed doing that too. I think just to have another guy that's around the line of scrimmage that can cover too. So I think they have a lot of options that are on this. They have a lot of options to go with, and they can mix and match to try to confound Mayfield.
He's Chris Franklin. Follow him on Twitter at @CFranklinNews. Check out all of his coverage of the Eagles at NJ.com. He's the Eagles beat writer for NJ Advanced Media, and he joined us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Chris, hopefully after Monday, everyone can get back on some normal schedule clocks here with the Eagles not having any more, Thursday night games moving forward.
I heard a rumor that there may be a Sunday afternoon, 1:00, where, what football should allow it should be. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Oh, I can't wait for that game. The rare game that we have 1:00 game that is on the Eagles schedule.
Chris, I just want the Eagles on Sunday, period. Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, it's so disconjointed now. It really is.
Yeah, and by the way, this whole hey, there's 2 Monday night games and they're happening at the same time. That's throwing me off too.
That's one. I know they're trying to do different stuff and give more options and flex and possible and all that stuff. But yeah, that's one of those things. That's a section that just have 1 Monday night game. Put the focus on that. Put Aikman and Buck on that, and just say, hey, we're running with this. Go for it. Not 2. And
well, I mean, if you're going to do 2, why do you have to do them concurrently? Why is it to be one's 7 and one's 8. No, why can't it be one's 7, one's 10?
Yeah, I think they're trying to hedge because some of those, they got burnt in the past with some of those matchups. You're looking like, ugh, all right, we don't want to bury this and have them going back and forth and lose on the rate. But there's a lot of change on this one, too. And I don't want a second team's forced to have played 2 Thursday night games. It's just going to dilute the product even more and just make it weird. Now you got to make the broadcasters happy, but change the whole thing up. Just put Sunday 1, Sunday 4, Sunday night, Monday. That was great. It was a great time.
That was great. All right, we're done griping for now. Chris, appreciate you jumping on, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
We'll get back to the text board coming up next, 609-403-0973. That's the text board. Also, your DMs in the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Don't forget, Thursday football tonight, 7:30 is the coverage on 97.3 ESPN.
Kevin Kugler here from Westwood One. Coming up on Thursday Night Football, Hall of Famer Tony Baselli and I will be on hand for NFC action between the Giants and the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey and San Francisco hope to move to 3-0 in their home opener, while Daniel Jones and the 1-1 Giants look to build on a come-from-behind win last week. Join us for all the action on Thursday Night Football.
Listen to Thursday Night Football on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7:30.
Hi, it's Heather DeLuca, inviting you to join me for Thrill of Hope, a very special evening of Christmas music and memories benefiting Ranch Hope. Thursday, November 2nd at the Grove at Centerdale, featuring a very special Christmas concert by international singing sensation and Miss America winner Betty Maxwell. Proceeds benefit Ranch Hope's Camp Edge. Ranch Hope has been serving the youth of New Jersey since 1964. This evening is made possible by Heritage Dairy Stores, Atlantic City Electric, Mannington Flooring, CW Services, and Sojo 1049. For tickets and information, visit ranchhope.org.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every touchdown, every game, every point, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. See for yourself when you sign up today, and you'll get $365 in bonus bets when you bet just $1. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be present in New Jersey. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
Boom, 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 boom. Nissan has a car for every driver who wants more. More action. More fun. More guts. More head turns. More adventure. More electric. At Nissan, more is all we do.
Does your roof or siding need replacement? Score a touchdown with Frank Vincent Windows and Roofing, the trusted name in home improvements for more than 60 years. Call Frank Vincent today at 609-641-2389 or visit frankvincentwindowsandroofing.com for a free estimate. That's frankvincentwindowsandroofing.com.
Frank Vincent Windows, Siding, and Roofing, and make your home look new again.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City, a community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text FLASH to 321321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text SLASH to 321321. That's slash to 321321.
Wow, Total Wine has everything at the lowest price in town. I found this single barrel bourbon, an awesome Cabernet, and Ruthie.
Ruthie?
That's me. Always happy to help. Love what you find at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, be 21.
The Balls Out Block Party featuring the Cheesesteak Egg Roll Bowl is on Saturday, September 30th at Resorts Casino Hotel. Witness the world's #1 professional eater, Joey Chestnut, as he competes for glory in Resort's first ever pro eating contest. The boardwalk will be active all day with a live band, beer stein hoisting contest, football toss challenge, and fun and games with 97.3 ES. The event is free, so Saturday, September 30th, Resorts Casino Hotel. One of a kind.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
All right, let's get to your text at 609-403-0973, plus my thoughts on Thursday Night Football. If you're the action starting at 7:30, you're on 97.3 ESPN. So look at the text before I get to Thursday Night Football. Okay, Giants at San Francisco. I'll give you my thoughts on that game in just a moment. But I do want to get to Jeff Notion before I start taking too deep into the game tonight. Jeff says on Monday night, I'm expecting 4 sacks from the Eagles D and Baker Mayfield to fumble the ball. That's from Jeff in Ocean City. Also, he says, what do you think about a Christian McCaffrey first touchdown tonight? We'll throw the first one with the Eagles. I don't think the 4 sacks is that extreme. I would just say, though, that what we've seen from the Tampa Bay offense already this year is that they tend to be a lot more balanced and conservative than I think people realize at this point. From my observation, I feel like their offense has done a good job at not being a turnover machine. I don't really think Baker. I think that there's still a perception that Baker is not good or he stinks or he's lame. I don't think Baker is as bad as people have painted him out to be. I think there are 2 problems with Baker Mayfield. One, he should have never come back from the injury as soon as he did. When he came back as soon as he did, it created an entire mess for him and his career and the Browns and everything. He should have just said, look, I'm not healthy. I can't play effective football right now. He tried to come back too soon. It hurt himself. It hurt his career. It hurt his team. And they became a vagabond. And now he's having to resuscitate his career forward like all retirees do. But seriously, I think Baker, I don't think he's a turnover. I don't think he is. I think the Eagles can pressure him to a turnover too, but I wouldn't be inclined to say that he is a turnover machine. In terms of the Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdown team, the first touchdown, the Jeff Notion said, I never have a good feel for those who's going to score the first touchdown wagers. I would say definitely if you have a good feel for that, then I would say run with it. For me, I typically get a good feel about team totals, over under spreads, prop bets about passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards. But the touchdown bets, I don't always have a good feel for that, to be honest with you. So, all right. So, going into this game, we are currently sitting just under 60% for the NFL pick. So, we're going to try to pick up the pace here, starting with Thursday football tonight. So, what do we got going on? Well, I don't think this could be a close game at all. I just don't. There's a reason why this spread went from 6.5 to 10.5 after the Saquon Barkley news. They're without Barkley. They're without Andrew Thomas. So the number one offensive weapon for the Giants, out. One of their starting offensive linemen, out. I tend to think the 49ers are going to. I just think there's no way the 49ers don't win this game handily. Unless the 49ers have some major injury or something goes completely wrong. Look, there's a reason why the odds makers, remember I always tell you guys, pay attention to the numbers. Remember I told you guys the last couple of years here on 97.3 ESPN, if the math doesn't add up, listen, pay attention. The odds makers have the team total for this game. Okay, the team totals. Giants 15.5, 49ers 27.5. That means the odds makers themselves are telling you that 10.5 that they set for the line is a fraudulent number. They're telling you themselves that their own projections say to take the spread because their projections have the point differential in this game set at 12. 27 minus 15 is 12. So the odds makers are telling you this is probably going to be a 3-score difference at minimum, 2 to 3 scores. This is probably going to be one of those games where the 49ers win like 30 to 10 kind of game. I think it's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be, it'll be a slug. It'll be like watching a slug climb up a wall and then another animal go and grab it off the wall and eat it. And then you'll be like, well, my night's over. I like the 49ers to hit the over 27.5 points tonight. I like this to hit the spread 10.5. So those are my two numbers I like the most tonight. If I had to dig deep into one more number out there, I'm trying to think of a prop that I might like. I mean, anytime touchdown. How about anytime touchdown for Deebo Samuel? We'll go with that. Plus 130 looks like it's the number out there. All right, thanks again to Chris Franklin for joining us to talk about the Eagles. Coming up tomorrow, we'll dig deeper into the NFL schedule and college football this weekend. We'll have all the picks for you tomorrow. Of course, I'll be on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill for the 6-pack of picks earlier in the day. And then game night at 6 p.m. right here on your home for the Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, NFL, college football. South Jersey's home for sports, 97.3 ESPN.
Scott Graham from Westwood One inviting you to join us for Thursday Night Football. The San Francisco 49ers are off to a 2-0 start. Now comes their home opener against the New York Giants, who came back from a 21-point deficit on Sunday to beat the Cardinals. Kevin Kugler and Tony Baselli will have the call, on air and on the free live stream sponsored by AutoZone on Thursday Night Football.
Right here on 97.3 ESPN South Jersey.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.